everyone, this is Shruti Srivastava from Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University, SEM 8 final year. Today we are going to talk about artificial neural network in this video. So let's get started with the topic. So in this video, the agenda of this video is basically to cover the basics of artificial neural network so you have a better understanding of the topic. First, we will introduce what is artificial neural network. Then we go through biological neuron model. Following through artificial neural model, then we will understand what is artificial network in depth, and then we will work on the architecture of the neural network. Then we will go on to learning and the applications of artificial neural network, followed by conclusion. So let's get started with the introduction. So basically, what do you mean by artificial neural network? Well, it is basically a computational way of mimicking the nerve cells that work in our brain and how our brain functions. So artificial neural network, as the name suggests, use artificial means of mimicking the human brain and use learning algorithms that can independently make adjustments or learn in a sense as they receive new input, and this makes them very effective tool for nonlinear statistical data modeling since they have weighted inputs and output related to it. So let's get a deeper understanding of how biological neural network works to understand neural networks better. Biological neuron model works like the each neuron in our body is connected chemically through one another, and it has four key elements that are dendrites, cell body or soma as it is known, synaptic, and axon. These neurons are connected to each other with a synaptic link. So basically, let's go in a chronological order. The dendrites receive weighted input from the environment of the neuron, and then the soma or the cell body processes this input and passes it on to the synaptic link, which connects it to other neurons as well. And the axon is the output that becomes the input for other neurons. So basically, this is how a biological neural model works. So let us take this concept and apply it to the artificial neural model. So next we come to the artificial neural model. The term artificial neural model refers to biologically inspired a subfield of artificial intelligence that mimics our human brain in a computational manner. An artificial neuron is a connection point in an artificial neural model, and in both the biological and artificial structures, the nodes are called neurons, and the connections are characterized by synaptic weights. As new data is received and processed, the synaptic weights change, and this is how the learning of this model occurs. When a given neuron processes the input that they receive, they decide whether the output should be passed on to the next layer as an input. The decision of whether or not to send the information is called a bias and is dependent on an activation function that is built into the model. So basically, if the activation function doesn't occur, the input doesn't turn out to be an output. So only relevant information passes, and this is how a neuron model works. And basically, from one neuron to another, the information passes in the similar manner. The information is only passed if it is considered necessary. So let's get into the neural network depth. So, what is artificial neural network now that we have come to the basic understanding of a neuron model and biological neuron model? So, So, in artificial neural network, the computer mimics and tries to behave and learn like a human brain through these neurons. So basically, as we have discussed, the dendrites from biological neuron model represent inputs in artificial neural network. Cell nucleus represents nodes, and the synapses represents weights, and the axon represents the output. So the computers will have an option to understand the things and make decisions in a human-like manner. Typically, neurons are aggregated into layers. Different layers may perform different functions, uh, transformations on their inputs, maybe perform signals travel from the first layer, that is the input layer, to the last layer, that is the output layer. There might be possible of traversing multiple layers that are called hidden layers through these segregated ways. So let us look into the architecture of the neural network to get a more clear understanding of how these artificial networks work. So how is the architecture of a artificial neural network, you may ask? It contains of three significant layers, namely the input layer, the hidden layer, and the outer layer, output layer. Sorry. So the input layer, as the name suggests, accepts the input from a programmer in various formats. The hidden layer is present between the input and the output layer and performs all the calculations to find hidden features and patterns and basically processes the input and forwards it to the output layer. The input goes through a series of transformations using the hidden layer, which results in the output that is conveyed using this layer. So there is no necessity of being just one hidden layer. A neural network can have multiple hidden layers, such as one, two, or many more, which basically depends on the structure of the artificial neural network and the computation required by the programmer. Next segment that we have is the learning segment, how artificial neural network learns on its own. So basically, it is categorized into three different parts, that is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. A network is fed with a set of training samples, inputs, and corresponding output, and it uses these samples to learn the general relationship between the input and the output. This relationship is represented by the values of the weights of the trained network that is carried out with the input to the hidden layer, and subsequently the output represents the relationship. In unsupervised learning, there are no desired output associated with the training data, and it is generally faster than the supervised learning and is used to find out the structures within the data, such as clustering and compression. Uh, for the reinforcement learning part, it is basically like supervised learning and has a weight adjusting system too, but it is not direct. It is based on a reward related system. Uh, Corresponding to a error value. The error value is used to randomly shuffle the weights to focus on a long-term reward system. This is relatively slow learning due to the randomness of the weight shifting, but is equally as effective as the other two learning parts. It depends on which problem you are dealing with to uh, supervise which learning method you should use. Next. Next, let us move on to the applications of artificial neural networks. The artificial neural networks have a wide range of applications, such as function approximation, where they can be used for predicting models or time series predictions. Then we have the classification that includes pattern detection, sequence recognition, uh, basically sequential decision making, such as radar system face identification, dog breed identification, cancer detection, handwritten text recognition, etc. Then we have a data processing part that includes filtering the data, clustering blind sources and separations and compression. So basically, this can be used for email spam detection or data mining and various other multitude of applications that artificial neural network has. It can also be used in the robotics so that a robot can think and function like a human decision making. It is still a work in progress, but it can be counted as a future scope. So these are the basic applications. There are further many more applications. For the purpose of this video, let us keep the applications confined to the few listed here. So now to conclude the video, neural networks are computing systems with interconnected nodes that work like human brain and help the neural network to make human-like decisions. Using algorithms, they can recognize hidden patterns, correlation in data, classify the data, and continuously learn and improve through these algorithms and decision-making processes. So basically, that's the concept of artificial neural networks, and I hope this video was of help. So thank you for watching.